Are you looking to buy an affordable compact sedan? Well, you came to the right place, because today we're going to be taking a look at all of the affordable compact sedans. We have extensively tested out each one of them, and we're going to be putting them into a ranking.
And these rankings aren't just going to be arbitrary. They're going to be based on the 10 most important categories to you, the compact affordable sedan shopper. We will be first giving our objective rankings based on the categories as mentioned before, and then at the end we're going to give our subjective rankings after spending time with them and which one we'd put in our driveways.
So, after our expert evaluation, how does the rankings shake out? Well, let's go ahead and find out. And we've spent lots of hands-on time with all of these models, testing out them in various different forms, putting them through their paces, performance-wise, living with them, enjoying the technology, space, etc., etc. Then we spent several hours putting them into this ranking based on the 10 most important categories to you all, the viewers and the shoppers in this segment. Those categories are as follows. Features. What do you get for the money? Powertrain choices and refinement. We're looking at options, MPGs, power. The drive experience, dynamics, and ride quality. And we will not be, for simplicity's sake, going into the full high-performance versions, but focusing on the affordable models. Cargo space, rear seat space, technology, active safety features, reliability, the base price, as in the minimum price for you to buy it, and then the value under $30,000.
Now, in each of those categories, we'll be ranking them from 1 to 5, 1 being poor, 5 being exceptional for the segment. Now, there are 9 total options in this segment, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into our rankings.
All right, so kicking us off here with the number 9 spot, we've got the Nissan Sentra coming in with a total score of 30 points. So when we look at this, we can see some strong areas, particularly down there at the bottom when we're talking about pricing. So this is actually the lowest starting price of all the rest of the vehicles you're going to see on this list in this segment. It also is a vehicle that you can get pretty much every single feature for about that $30,000 price point. It's really a very affordable model, and it's also, has a pretty nicely finished cabin. Again, a lot of features for the money. So those are areas that really make the Nissan Sentra excel.
And moving on from that, let's go to our number 8 ranking, which is going to be the Subaru Impreza with an overall score of 32.5 points. Now, where does it score highly? Well, as you can see, the scores are actually pretty consistent across the categories. There's not a single category that it gets a 1 or anything like that. And as far as its highest rankings, that would be in cargo space. It gets a 4 in that category. The reason for that is, of course, because the Impreza does have a lot of space compared to other things on this list. We also evaluated things like if it was a hatchback was offered, and then reliability and resale value, it scores highly, 4.5 points in that category, and the value under $30,000. This is a vehicle that you can get a lot for that under $30,000 price point. The base price is also not bad. It is more than the Nissan Sentra, but it's still sitting under $23,000 as a starting price. And by the way, if any of these individual categories that we are ranking in matters more or less to you, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. There you're going to find the exact categories that we're looking at today, and you can actually sort them based on the categories that might matter more or less to you. So if you're looking for the best value, you'll be able to find things like that, the best in the cargo capacity area, powertrain choices, etc., etc. It's certainly a very useful tool, especially while you're shopping in this very crowded segment. So we'd encourage you to check that out to make an informed buying decision.
Now, continuing us with the number 7 spot, we have the Toyota Corolla. This, of course, is, well, the world's best-selling vehicle, and there's a good reasons why. It is certainly high scoring when you get down towards the bottom of that list there, and you're looking at active safety features, reliability, legendary with the Toyota Corolla model, and the base price as well as the value. Both of those you are able to get quite a bit. The Corolla has moved up in price some, like all of its competition, but maybe less so than some other vehicles you'll see later on this list. Of course, there are some liabilities with this model. Drive experience is going to be kind of lower. The engine options that they're giving are usually underpowered, so it kind of struggles against the competition in that regard. But it does have available all-wheel drive, which is pretty rare in this segment, and also a hybrid system that gets good MPGs.
Now moving on to the number 6 slot, that is going to be the Volkswagen Jetta, which is certainly a vehicle that has really pleasantly surprised both Drew and I as we've tested it out multiple times, particularly in quite a few different categories. You can see those on the screen right now, but it does have a really good base price. It's very affordable on the lower end. The value under 30 grand, it gets a perfect 5 in that category because you can pretty much get everything as standard equipment for under 30 grand, and it is including a lot of things that some of the competition does not even include at all, like ventilated seats, active safety features, a 4.5 in that category. It does quite well. The rear seats are good, and the drive experience is quite good, especially if you choose for one of the more powerful GLI versions. Now, not all things are good, and that's why it doesn't score a little higher on this list, because the reliability and resale value just gets a 1. That's certainly not this vehicle's strongest area, that's for sure. And by the way, if you are curious about the category of reliability, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/reliability. Even though many of these models are just now entering the market, our reliability rankings consider the historic performance of a brand via several of the industry-leading reliability studies combined to give you a more holistic picture. Again, you can find some information about our methodology at carconfections.com/reliability.
All right, things are starting to heat up. We're now moving to number 5, and this is the Toyota Prius. Our score here is 35.5 points for this one. Now, this is a model that maybe you don't traditionally think about, but this, of course, is Toyota's hybrid model, very popular model, and, of course, it has a lot of unique benefits. Being a hybrid model means that you have incredible fuel economy, for example. It also has quite a lot of power, all-wheel drive, for example, and you'll see that this model kind of comes in on the upper side of the segment, basically. So while the scores at the bottom with value and the base price are going to be on the low side, you also get a lot for the money, and you see that reflected at the top scores where they have 4 and 5s, giving you lots of space, lots of good driving dynamics, again, that great fuel economy, and a great amount of features.
Yeah, talk about a glow up. This new Prius is a serious contender in this segment. Now we're getting ready to get into the top 4, but first, if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
And if you want to know about all the latest and greatest rides, then make sure to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the newest cars.
All right, so what is our number 4 pick on the list? That's going to be the Hyundai Elantra. Of course, it's a very popular vehicle in this segment. I'm sure you've seen a lot of them out on the road, and it's a very consistent performer. Overall score is 37.5, so that's a very good score. And you'll notice that really in every category, it does pretty good. Its lowest score is a 2.5 in reliability and resale value, but aside from that, it gets a 3, 4, or 5. So let's just go ahead and break that down a little bit. The powertrain choices, you have a lot of options for the Elantra. You also have hybrid choices as well that get exceptionally good fuel economy. The drive experience is also pretty good for the segment of vehicle. Additionally, the value that you're going to get, you should be used to this with Hyundai Kia products, but the base price is the second lowest on this list, only beat by the Nissan Sentra, and the value under 30 grand, it gets a perfect score of 5. So if you're looking for a consistent performer with a lot of value, this Hyundai Elantra is certainly a good choice.
Rolling on to the number 3 position, we have the Mazda 3. 38 is its score, and it's got a lot of high numbers in its scoring guide. So I'll start at the top there because you'll notice that features is a 5. This is a very well-equipped vehicle. One of the things that Mazda is really good about is actually bringing those pretty high-end features actually down to most of the models that most people are buying, such as Select Sport. You also have things like a head-up display available, which is super, super rare. Powertrain, you have a couple different options there, including a very powerful turbo engine. The drive experience, Mazda is legendary for having great drive, and the handling is top-notch. And then we also have space from both a sedan and an available hatchback. The lower scores are going to be down at the bottom, which are just kind of related to mostly the base price being higher than average for the segment, and also that you have to pay more to get more features on those high-end examples of this vehicle.
Things are really, really heating up, and we're about to get to the number 2 option on the list, which is the Kia K4, which is all new for 2025. Of course, this is a very, very strong option in this segment. Overall score is 39, and as you can see, it does really well in a lot of different categories. Let's go ahead and hit the highlights. So features. You're getting a lot of features, things like ventilated seats, the blind spot camera system, things like that are just really unexpected for this segment. The drive experience is a 4 in that category, which actually was something that surprised us. It drove a lot better, and the overall experience was better than we had expected going into reviewing it.
Yep, especially with that GT line turbo.
Yeah, it really did a good job. Technology, it gets a perfect 5 in this category. You get the new dual 12.3-inch screens. You even have a climate screen, so tons of technology on board. 360 camera, things that really most of the options this segment don't even offer at all. It's straight from the more expensive Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis products. Active safety features, it does a good job with that as well. 4.5. The base price, they do all of this for an affordable price tag. It's $21,900 as a starting point, and the value under 30 grand, it gets a 4.5 in that category as well, because you can pretty much get the fully loaded example for under $30,000. Now, its lowest category falls in the powertrain section. There's not a ton of options. It just gets a 2.5 in that category. There's not a hybrid, and there's also not an all-wheel drive variant. And by the way, if you're looking to buy any of the vehicles that we've mentioned on this list, or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. We even have a monthly payment tool, so we'd certainly encourage you to check that out. Once more, you can find it in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. But now it is time to get into our number 1 pick. Drum roll, please.
And that is the Honda Civic. So, quintessential vehicle in this segment is coming in with 39.5 as its final score. And as you can see in the list of those 10 categories, we have a lot of very high numbers, of course, because the Civic's approach has long been just kind of giving you everything that you want. They've got a lot of different options. So you have both sedan and hatchback, first of all. Then you also have, a traditional gas powertrain, a hybrid powertrain, and multiple performance versions as well. Yeah. And a manual transmission even available. So lots and lots of different choices. Only all-wheel drive, though, is not offered. That's kind of its one little caveat with that powertrain section. Drive experience, you can get the cheapest one all the way up to the most expensive one. It's going to be great handling, fun to drive, good responsiveness. Cargo space, again, a highlight. The sedan is super big. The hatchback is even bigger with that extra boot in the back. Technology, they've upgraded this vehicle recently with a refresh, so you have a bigger screen now, Google built in, stuff like that you're going to be looking for. Good active safety features as well. Reliability, top notch. It's a Honda. Really only the lowest numbers here I'm seeing a 2.5 for a base price and 2.5 for a value under $30,000. That's because the price has kind of crept up. I think Honda maybe knows their position is pretty good for this model, obviously, and they know a lot of people want it, so they've kind of crept up the price. You do have to pay more than most of the other things on this list if you want to get the same feature set. But, of course, if you pay that little bit of extra money, you're obviously going to be getting a lot.
Yeah, that's for sure. So that's going to conclude our objective list. There certainly is a lot of things to consider, and you can, of course, see that for yourself and which categories matter more or less to you on our website, carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. But it's time for us to get into our subjective picks. We review cars all the time, so which one would we put in our driveway? Well, I'll go ahead and start out by saying my driveway pick is that Honda Civic. I think that is the best all-around vehicle in this segment. If you have the extra money to spend on it, yes, you know, if you get a cheaper one, it's really going to be lacking quite a lot of features. But if you get a fully loaded example, the Civic is really just a fantastic choice in this segment. It does everything so well. You can even get the new hybrid that gets ridiculously good fuel economy, which probably would save you enough money to pay for that price difference.
Yeah, and I agree with everything that he's saying. I'm going to deviate just a little bit, though, and pick the Kia K4. Having driven this recently, especially in the new GT Line Turbo, that's kind of what I have in my mind right now. This is like a middle ground of performance. It's not the upper echelon like a Type R or an Elantra N, but it gives you that nice bump in performance for a really good price. So in the low 30s, to be able to get that nice bump in performance, have the fully loaded cabin with some really high tech and a lot of features that you don't expect for this segment, I think that that is really an excellent choice as well.
And guys, that's going to wrap up this countdown video for the best affordable sedans you can buy in 2025. Hopefully you found this video helpful. That was the whole reason we made it, was to detail all the options and the specific reasons why you might buy each of those. There really isn't a terrible choice in this segment, so we hope that we're able to help you find your best option. And speaking of that, we'd love to hear from you all in the comment section down below. Which of these will you buy in this segment? Are you going to pick the, tried and true Honda Civic, the Corolla, or are you going to deviate and do something like the Kia K4? Let us know your thoughts down below. Now, if you're already a fan and subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. And if you're not already, we'd love to welcome you into our Car Confections family. By hitting that subscribe button, you're going to get more videos like this, and you're also going to stay up to date on the latest automotive news and reviews out there. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.